Okay, I'm here in Saratoga Springs with restorer Lance Reed, who has worked for several years on this Matchless Cunningham player piano, huge, that I'm looking at to assess. And I'm going to ask you, Lance, if you can start from wherever you want to start in terms of assessing the condition and of the instrument and what it would take to bring it up to really fine performance.
Well, structurally, it's in relatively good condition. The pin block seems to be very adequate to hold the tuning. It's all pretty much original as far as the piano portion is considered, other than the key tops were probably replaced at one time. The catcher leather, which is over here, that's often very worn down, and throughout the center of the action it's in relatively good shape as well. It has the original bridle straps still throughout the action, and everything is original, the hammers and the dampers. Some of the treble strings apparently through this section were breaking. Sometimes there is one particular size of wire that for one reason or another does not hold up well. Maybe that was drawn improperly when it was manufactured, but they seem to be breaking right through that section. Other than that, they seem to be alright. The soundboard has one minor crack and another what looks to be a possible crack that might be starting. The bridges seem to be in very good condition. The player mechanism was partially restored before I ever started to work on this piano. The air motor was recovered at one time with new bellows cloth, as was the tracker mechanism, which is on the left side of the spool box. These were recovered. The air motor still operates, but it has somewhat of a hitch in it. It doesn't run perfectly smooth, and it's getting porous. It should be much more airtight than it is. When the hose is removed from it and you put your palm against the outlet and you turn the motor backwards, it should turn very slowly. You should barely be able to creep it around. But this shows that it's quite leaky. And when it plays the music roll, it doesn't play steadily. It has a little hitch in it. The 88 note bellows, the bellows on the back of this player mechanism that strike the notes, they've all been recovered and they're in good shape. But the 88 primary valves, which are in this chest, and the 88 secondary valves, which are in the lower chest, they're all original. It does take quite a bit of effort to pump it, and that probably would be changed dramatically by replacing all of the valves.
Right.
Now the pump bellows, at one time someone tried to electrify it by drilling a hole in this side of the pump bellows. That's why that cloth has been placed there. The pump bellows have been recovered by myself.
What year would that have been?
This
Do you know?
was about 5 years ago, I believe.
Great.
And this bellows cloth is not manufactured anymore. It was made by Player Piano Company in Wichita, Kansas. It was their high-quality bellows cloth. And I actually had some new old stock that I used when I recovered this bellows. The owner wanted an electric motor installed in it, so the motor has been placed over there on the base end. And when the motor was put in there, the sustain pneumatic had to be removed. Well, that's here.
No.
And it could be replaced if the motor was taken out again.
Right.
And then these two soft pneumatics, they were recovered.
Yeah, I
on
see
each
it's
side
fresh.
as well.
Yeah.
And it did have the new control tubing that was put in it.
Yeah.
The soundboard has one large hole on this side that was drilled to accommodate a suction hose.
I know. Isn't that outrageous?
And really, that's just the way that the piano was attempted to be electrified.
Yeah.
When the motor was placed in the back of the piano.
Right.
The action, I think the keys, before I ever worked on it, the keys were raised quite a bit higher than they really would have to be. They could be lowered somewhat, which might make the touch a little lighter. Mm-hmm. The action could be regulated to a degree to make the touch lighter.
Yeah, it seems very sluggish to me.
Yeah.
That said, it's not terrible. But it is.
The upper registers are somewhat sluggish.
Yeah.
That could be due to key weighting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lead could be put in some of the upper keys to help that.
I understand that some of the upper keys on the Cunningham may not even have leads.
Probably didn't.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh,
now let's take a look at these guys here.
Yeah, this mechanism is an auto piano. The
Okay.
auto piano company provided the player mechanism for the Cunningham company to install. Mm-hmm. And the auto piano is a double valve action, as I mentioned before. The bellows was equipped with this retard accelerando lever, so that once you set the tempo, you could use this to slow it down or speed it up as you would enjoy while you were playing the roll.
Let me just ask you, this is a critical lever as far as I'm concerned. To what degree could you fine control it, or is it very grotesque? You know, do you have to shove it all the way over, or because I'm thinking on those metro style rolls, you could use this basically as a substitute for the metro style on the Aeolian instrument.
Yes.
But it's all depends on how fine the adjustment can be made on this too.
It can be refined much more than it is. It's right at the present time. It's a little bit crude, especially with the retard side of it.
Okay.
But it could be made much more sensitive. And the buttons, the one on this side here, that was a silencer, and when you press that, it would just act as a fast forward. It would stop the playing of the notes, but the roll would continue to move forward just at a faster rate.
Why do you suppose they included this?
For some people who wanted to just maybe pass by some of the verses in a song and just wanted to get back to the chorus again. Maybe certain parts of rolls people didn't like, and so they put that on there.
Okay.
And then the other buttons, the one was to operate the sustain pedal, and the other two were to operate the split hammer rail to give you more of a softer tone.
Right. Now this strange little thing I understood was something that was not really that useful or that operational, but apparently it was meant to control the dynamics on the roll. And
it's not connected anymore, and for some reason whatever it connected to had been removed apparently years ago.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I've heard that this particular lever is kind of useless, mm-hmm. But that said, they put it in. I think it's called the Rio style, and I think it is what it is, and I don't think it's necessary per se if you want to play expressively. The control that really intrigues me is this one. Mm-hmm. I have to say.
Yes. And this owner had wanted a practice type bar installed in it, so this has been put in here.
I wondered about that.
And that was installed just to make it much more quiet.
You know, that's actually kind of nice. And how do you activate that?
With a control rod underneath the keyboard here,
mm-hmm.
just a choke rod.
And that was something you devised?
I installed that. This
Yeah.
was taken from another old player piano, and I just put felt on it to go in between the hammers and the strings when it's lowered.
You know, that is actually an additional expressive device in a way.
It could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now I have a question about the automatic not automatic rewind, the pedal track.
Yes.
For the automatic sustain. Is that always on, or can you turn it off?
On this particular piano, it's always on, which is strange because
Yeah.
many of them had a little switch that you could turn it off, but a switch could be installed.
Or could you just cover the hole? I mean, with like...
Yes, you could if you don't want it to
Yeah.
operate.
Yeah, but that's kind of rinky-tink. Well, that I think is actually something desirable to try to have, because, you know, the automatic sustain is very interesting and nice, but it's kind of, they just put it in to help bass notes along and stuff like this. I mean, it wasn't necessarily artistic.
No, it did add something to the
Oh, it did.
mechanical nature of the
Oh,
regular
yes.
piano rolls.
But you, as a pianolist, can make it even better by hand, if that's...
That's
you know,
right.
if that's what you can do.
Well, there's one odd thing about this, and that is when the roll plays, I am not exactly sure why it's very noisy in the gearing. And I'm not sure if we could remedy that with adjusting the way the gears are meshing, or if we could put some heavy grease on these gears here. But when it operates, you can hear the
The motor. I mean,
The
well,
gears.
yes. Well, do you think that's true of all of this piano, or have you had other players that didn't make that much noise?
Oh, there are many other players that don't make hardly any noise when it comes to that gearing. So that's a little bit
Well, yeah,
different.
and if you're recording this instrument, you want it to be as quiet as you can get it.
right.
Yeah. Do you think you could do something about that?
I think we could do something about it, even if we had to replace the one little pinion gear.
Yeah.
Adjusting, or with some heavier grease, or replacing the gear.
Yeah, right.
Something will make it quieter.
Quieter,
It wasn't
yeah.
supposed to be that way, I don't think.
No. Well, you know, what is the size of this instrument? Is it 52 inches, or how large? It's really
I'd
tall.
say it was probably 53 or 4 high.
Yeah. This is the biggest one I've seen so far.
And the depth is probably 29 or 30 even.
Yeah. Well, this was considered the flagship upright of the Cunningham company. And it's considered grade 1 in Blue Book of Values, the Matchless Cunningham upright. Yeah, it is. Oh, I've done my
Very
Googling.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. So, is there anything else you think we should add about this instrument? I think I should sit down and hand play it a little bit myself, just so people can hear it, and also run through the chromatic scale. I might do that actually now, just while I have this going. Well, that says a lot, and not all good. But, you know, it's hard to assess just doing that. But my sense is it's very bright. It's really harsh, and it's totally uneven in terms of tonal quality. The question I have is if you put in new hammers, do you think it would really astoundingly change the tone? I think it would, wouldn't it? Or not?
It would round it out and mellow it quite a bit, I think, if you put
Yeah.
new hammers in.
Yeah. Because this is a screamer.
Mhm.
And if you're going to be playing pop piano rollers, such as what I'm thinking of, you would have to run out of the room. Kind of.
Many at least, of the old player pianos are screamers with the original hammers in.
I know, but that's not the way they were when they began.
Mhm.
If you were going to replace the hammers, also I noticed the dampening isn't that great either.
Yeah, the dampers should be replaced too if
Yes,
you're going to replace
right.
the hammers.
Yeah, right. If you were going to replace these hammers, what sort of hammers would you suggest?
I would trying to think of the name of them. I can't recall right now.
Are they Japanese?
Yeah, Imadagawa.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I've heard they are very good for this kind of an instrument. Yeah, all right. So there's a lot of work that would have to be done on this instrument. On the other hand, it is the Matchless Cunningham. Which, and I think the size, if it was restored, it would be astounding.
Probably it would.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much, Lance.
You're welcome.
You're very informative, and it is an amazing instrument to have survived as well as it has, but it certainly needs work now.